Jared Roser here with Skylar Mays. I guess when I met you, big time U High star, just getting started in high school years ago, and then some fantastic years right across campus at LSU, and now getting ready for the NBA draft that we were just talking about. There's a lot of uncertainty with when the heck that's going to happen and everything. But Skylar, man, how's it been going? It's obviously been some pretty weird times. How you been making out with everything?
Yeah, it's been good. Just trying to stay safe and trying to find a place to work out every day. It hasn't been easy, but from what I've heard after talking to teams, I have it better than most people, so I can't complain.
What has, that looked like in terms of knowing that? I say knowing that we don't know anything right now, ultimately. And so we don't know if you're going to get a chance to go work out in front of some teams in person, if the draft's going to be in a month or if they're going to end up pushing that a couple of months. But in terms of just trying to stay on top of your routine and prepare for potentially some major job interviews, essentially, and whatnot, or just trying to stay in shape and get ready for when the day comes where you're actually going to be back out there with a team and be earning your spot on a roster. What's that process looked like for you to find some spots, and what have you been able to do work-wise, and what's the mindset that it takes to kind of keep on top of all that under current circumstances?
Yeah, it's been a lot of calling, a lot of rejections, but just trying to do what I can with what I have. But the number one thing is staying safe, and I'm glad that people are, really doing that here, even if that means me not being able to get in the gym. But a lot of people have it bad, so I'm just trying to stay on point with what I can, and just ready for everything to get back to normal. But like you said, who knows?
What you have had a chance to start doing is having some conversations with some of these teams and getting that side of the interview process going. What does that look like? Who are some of the teams you've had a chance to meet with, and what do some of those conversations look like?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, put out who I'm talking to, so I don't want to, do that. But I've talked to a lot of teams. I've talked to more than half the league. I've obviously been asking them questions when I get a chance about how things are looking. But there's a lot of just uncertainties that they got to figure out. But it's cool to really talk to teams and ask questions about the superstars and what their work ethic is and stuff like that is like. Just as a person who loves the game and is always trying to learn, it's been really fun for me. And luckily I'm blessed to come from a great family, and I don't have to put on a face in front of these teams. I just get to be myself. So the interviews are going really smooth right now.
Yeah, we had a call with Coach Will Wade, I guess about 2 weeks ago now, and he referenced how you guys are kind of going through some of the process, and he said that he's been hearing some great things about your interview process. And I said, yeah, I'm sure you're real shocked to hear Skylar's doing
Yeah.
well, chatting with some of these teams, but he mentioned that the depth of some of these interviews can be kind of more so than what a lot of people necessarily realize, in terms of some teams actually putting on some film and looking at some of the really finer points of what they've seen from you and working through some things. What has that been like in terms of some things you hear that teams like about you at this point in the process versus some things that you kind of have on your plate to work on moving forward?
Yeah. As far as talking to teams, they haven't really gone too much into that, but they do invest a lot of time in. You can tell by the questions they ask. I've been asked some questions that I wasn't necessarily expecting. But yeah, you just kind of have to be ready for anything. I've gone through, film with some of the teams, film with myself, film with other guys, and just seeing how I think about the game. And they're investing a lot of money in you, so of course they're going to do their due diligence. And it's up to you to do your part as well to set yourself up to be in a good spot on draft day.
Can you share one of the questions that caught you off guard or was a little bit crazy, or you just weren't expecting? Anything that comes to mind that that you're like, I hadn't thought about that, or where the heck did that come from, or anything like that?
I think it's just more like curveballs. Like it'll be like we'll be talking basketball for the first 25 minutes, and then they just ask me like, who are three people dead or alive that you would like to have dinner with? Something like that. Just something that just kind of comes out of nowhere. Just kind of seeing how you can flip the switch. So I think and then also game on the line, draw up a play for me, stuff like that. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready. So I think I've done a pretty good job with it, though.
What three people alive would you want to have dinner with?
Alive? I don't remember who I said. I think I just said three names, but Dennis Rodman for sure, Kevin Garnett, and probably someone like Obama or somebody of that stature. But Dennis Rodman's one guy I definitely know I said.
Have you been watching, or I guess have you watched all the Last Dance series these past few weeks?
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna rewatch them too.
Yeah. I was talking to Chessa from local NBC 33 and Fox 44 earlier, and for us, that was kind of when we grew up into like watching those. Really, the last three-peat, I guess, the second three-peat of the Bulls, and how interesting it's been for folks younger than us to see a lot of that in a detail for the first time that they haven't seen before. What was it like for you watching some of that, and particularly you smiled so big as soon as you said Dennis Rodman's name, just seeing more of how eccentric of a character that guy was in that kind of a spotlight at that time.
Yeah, before this, the most I'd seen of really like the Chicago Bulls. I mean, obviously everyone's seen highlights, but the most I'd sat down and watched was like my dad used to have DVDs of a couple of those series. Definitely that 98 series. But I was born in 97, so obviously, when I watched it, it was probably 2003. I might have been 6 years old. I couldn't really, grasp all that was going on there. But to watch it now and, see these guys off the court and see how there are a lot of similarities and like major differences. It's just cool to see. And the first time I saw Jordan make a mistake on the documentary, it was like, wow, Jordan makes mistakes. You know what I'm saying? There's so much that it's like you just kind of have to take in and realize these guys are basketball players when they're put on such a pedestal. But it's cool to see. I feel like I have a better feel on when we have these discussions, like the 97 Bulls versus the 2017 Warriors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For you being a little bit younger, but I mean, you grew up more Kobe and now LeBron, and now seeing some of Jordan and just kind of continuing to expand your background with the league. What is it like to think back to being one of those four youngsters that was starting out at U High and was so hyped up as eighth graders and freshmen, and now realize everything you've been through to get to this point, and now that you're right there on the threshold of being in that league that you watched from such a young age?
Yeah, when I was in eighth grade, everybody, I wanted to play in the NBA, but I didn't realize how much it was going to take and how much better I was going to need to get. And now, like, however many years later, to be at this point, it's really shocking, and I'm kind of trying to soak it all in. And this pandemic isn't helping all that, really getting to see everything come to fruition. But it's been good, man. I've enjoyed my journey. The best thing is that I don't regret anything, and I've come across great people who have helped me a lot, and who have been a big part of all the success I've had. So I'm just thankful and looking to make them proud as I move forward.
You went through this pre-draft process last year and tested the waters. What did you learn from that process that you think helped you during this past year as a senior, as well as now diving back into it, knowing this time is for good and for real and definitive?
Yeah, it was a fun process. just getting to get in front of teams and actually talk to them face to face and really get a feel for what they're looking for out of guys. And I definitely feel like I use that to my advantage in the step I took this past year. But it was cool to travel and you kind of get a feel for what it's like for those guys when they're going through an 82 game season and moving around a lot and how tough it is on your body and how much time you really have to put into because your body's basically your business. So just learning how to be a pro and learning really what it takes. I think I got a really good feel for it after going through that process last year, and again, it really helped me this year, and I think I'm really ready for the next step.
With a few of your teammates going through some of this stuff now with you this year, how much are you in conversation with, Darius, Emmett, Trendon, Javante, just about how things are going on their ends as well? Are y'all able to keep up very much in the middle of a lot of this, or has it been kind of hectic and spotty?
Yeah, more spotty than anything. I think everyone's kind of keeping everything close to the chest because we want to figure out how things are going to play out with the NBA. And, with just so much being unknown, it's hard to really get a gauge of where you stand as a player according to teams because I think they're more worried about getting back on the court.
We talked about it a little bit before, but you're pretty ready to figure out where these next steps take you.
Yeah.
What's that going to be like whenever you have something more concrete set up and all right, this is where I'm beginning my professional journey?
It's going to be a good feeling. It could be close, it could be really far. So it's just weird because I've been in Baton Rouge basically all my life other than, that 1 year at Findlay. So, to think, possibly 3 months from now, possibly 6 months from now that I'm going to be living in a completely different place. They have no NBA teams in Baton Rouge. So, either way, it's going to be a transition. But, I'm excited. Again, I got a great group of people around me who are going to help me with it. It's going to be a tough transition, but, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
No pro team in Baton Rouge, but there's one not too far down the road there in New Orleans, and I'm sure regardless of where you end up, you're gonna have a lot of folks trying to come visit.
Of course, I can't wait to play in there. I'm excited for that one.
Good deal, Skylar, man. Appreciate you. Always a pleasure, and certainly good luck with these next steps and seeing where it all lands.
No doubt, Jared. Thank you for having me, man. Hey, I need one of those shirts too.
I can do that.
You never have to pay for it,
It was always a little trickier when you guys were going through like a recruiting process and playing college ball, what exactly could be thrown your way and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
I know how that goes. I know how that goes. I think we're good now, though.
Yeah, we can figure out whatever size and color you need and get you up.
No doubt.
Thanks, Guy.